What's going on, you YouTube-tillions? Nah, that's probably not a word. Actually, I know that's not a word. Anyway, if you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're coming back to the channel, welcome back. Well, if you know from the past videos, I like to do mods to my Jeep. Well, what mod do I have today? Let's go and find out. Da-na-na-na, da-na-na-da-da, da-na-na-na, da-na-na-da-da, da-na-na-da-da. And what mod is that? The 7-inch LED headlights. Now, these are not cheap by any means, but I have seen some people retrofit these into the CJ housings. I'll give you the Instagram name of the guy that actually brought it up to me. Put that in the top corner for you. This guy sent me some pictures of how he done it, and I wouldn't say I'm going to copy the way he's done it. Yeah, I am. I'm copying it. But I'm going to give him credit, because, I mean, it seemed like a great modification, and I'm curious to see how it turns out. And, I mean, just look at that. Would you look at it? Would you just look at it? I mean, that just looks awesome. I mean, it still gives you the classic, like, Jeep CJ vibe you got going on there, but replace these old Wagner Halogen. I mean, those still look good. I mean, that gives you that classic, old school, two candles in the wind type feel. But I'm honestly wanting to make driving this thing a little bit more enjoyable at night, and I think these will be the ticket. Now, with these lights, from what I've gathered from the other guy, is that I have to take them out, and they're pretty much plug and play with one exception. The headlight bucket behind the light has to be cut in order to fit these lights, because these lights, I believe, are actually for a Jeep TJ. They are considered the universal light, so they can work with other stuff. I mean, granted, I'm putting it in the CJ here, but to get it to work universally, you might have to do some work, just like I'm going to be doing. So anyway, hope you guys stick around for the review slash, well, I'm not even going to say it's a review. Hope you guys stick around for the installation. I'll leave some comments on the lights and how I like them, so I guess it might be a review. But I'll do a more formal review later on in another video, once I've had some seat time behind these lights. So anyway, stick around. Let's see what happens. So first, in a world where we grab a screwdriver that's older than I am. Anyway, grab your nearest screwdriver, Phillips head, and on the headlight bezel trim piece right here, there's going to be screws on the bezel. This one's down at the very bottom. You take the bezel off. One screw. It's that easy. That's why I like this Jeep. It's easy. One more screw. So here you can see two screws. This screw and this screw. You're going to want to go with this screw. This screw will separate the actual headlight from the headlight housing. This screw just takes off this little trim piece. Oh wow, another trim piece. So anyway, take these screws out to separate the headlight from the headlight housing. Phillips head. I think you'll be using the Phillips head a lot in this video, or this tutorial, or your project, Phillips head. Alright, so next you can see that I've got the screws out from the headlight bucket of the headlight itself. But next you'll see a little spring down here. That little spring is going to have to spring itself, unhook from the actual headlight. But also I'm going to go ahead and take, alright, this is hard in one hand. I'm going to unhook the connector from the back of the headlight. Might take some wiggling. That's alright. There. I was not going to get that one-handed. There's your spring. take a pair of needle nose pliers and grab that spring and pull it out to release the spring from the headlight housing. There. That's a lot more simple, or simpler, or however the politically correct people say it. Anyway, so now you can see the Wagner halogen has been separated. Put this aside. Now you want to actually take the bucket out. Alright, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 screws that are holding this baby in here. So just take those 4 screws out. And there's the bucket. Here's a good look at the original halogen I had. I mean, it's still a pretty good looking light. The Wagner halogen just wasn't the brightest, but I mean, it was okay. Now, the unboxing of the big boy here. What you get inside? KC sticker. Looks like an instruction manual. Now, who needs that anyway? And the light itself. Wow. That's definitely going to make the Jeep stand out. Not that it doesn't already. But anyway, so get the instruction manual, a sticker, and the 2 lights are in this box here. So let's see exactly how these are going to work with the headlight housing bezel. KC light, headlight housing bezel. Put the plug through the back and try to set it in there. You can tell when you set it in there that it just won't fit because the hole right here is way too small. So the next task at hand is getting the angle grinder out and making that hole big enough to fit. So what I did is I put the light beside the headlight bezel housing here, or headlight housing. I put the light beside the housing and I kind of lined them up together, and I seen where this would set flush with the light, and then I seen where the light protruded out the back, and then I seen where it possibly would be that it would open up enough. If that's clear as mud, then we'll go with it. So anyway, this little mark right here, if my camera would focus, this little mark right here is the mark I made. So I'm going to measure from that mark to the back of the housing. And that looks to be about 3/4 of an inch. It's really hard to do this on camera. Anyway, it looks to be about 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to go around the headlight bezel and mark every 3/4 of an inch. And then we're going to go to the vise, get the angle grinder out, and just chop that part off. So here's a better view of the actual bezel and what I mean. I measured 3/4 of an inch all the way around through there. Not the best job, but it'll get the job done. I hope that'll be enough, but the only thing to do is just cut it and see if it slides in. So that's the next part. I'm going to put it in that vise right there, get the grinder out and grind it off, and go from there. Almost forgot, safety third. So I've cut quite a bit off of the actual bezel and grinded it down, kind of smoothed it out some. But to see if the light really works, we need to take the retaining ring off the original headlight, which is this ring right here. You take that ring off and put it on the other one. So I've come to realize that the headlight housing, that it goes on the back of the headlight. When you take the retaining clip off, this comes off. This is what adjusts your headlight. It also needs to be cut in the back because the hole's too small. So I'm just going to measure how much I cut the bucket, and then we'll measure how much I cut this. I ended up cutting the bucket more. I cut the bucket about maybe an inch, inch and a quarter to get it to where it needs to be. So I'm going to cut this about the same depth that I cut the bucket. Alright, so I've got the bucket cut and I've got the adjuster bucket cut. Right now I have the bucket and the adjuster bucket on, and I'm about to mount it up. Now don't get me wrong, I mean I'm going to go back and paint this so it don't rust and everything a little later. Because I mean that's what you need to do, you need to paint it, but I want to mock it all up before I do that. So I'm going to put it on the Jeep, see what it looks like, just to take it right back off and paint it, but I just want to see it, make sure it works before I put in all any more effort and do the other side. Alright, so after some finagling, got it in there. To take it right back out and paint it. Gotta do the other side the same way. I got the buckets. This is the adjuster for the headlight. Then I got the bucket over here. And the same deal, the adjuster for the headlight and the bucket. Now I'm going to start painting it. I'm going to sand them down and then paint them. And then put them back together, put it in the grill of the Jeep, and then slide the light in. And we'll go from there. I'm not going to film this because I don't want paint on my lens of my camera. But you get the idea. Well, I think it turned out pretty well. Next thing to do is to put these back in the actual grill. The headlight bucket and the headlight housing adjuster. Put it back in the bucket, which I'm going to go do here in a minute. And then from there, we will put the retaining ring on the lights themselves, line them up, throw them in, and that should be about it. So I'd turn them on and test them out. So don't forget to put the spring in down here at the bottom. That's what holds it for the retainers, so you can adjust the headlight with this screw here and this screw over here. Overall, I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out. Alright, so this light, make sure that the retaining ring lines up with the screws. You can actually twist this ring the way you need it to get the KC to be straight up and down. Otherwise, like when I first put it in here, I was having the issue of I didn't know why the light was setting like this. Well, the retaining ring can be adjusted, so make sure that the light itself is straight up and down or perpendicular to the vertical plane. So anyway, should just be able to slide it in. Actually, plug it up first. Alright, so the last step, with this little piece right here, that's going to fall in the top of your bucket housing. Once that falls in, locks it in, put it down on the bottom, screw it in, and your trim piece is back on. Well, these look so much better. Old light, new light. Yeah, so this camera, I've got the ISO set at 12.8, which is as high as it'll go, and the aperture set at 4. And I mean, it's just not doing justice. I mean, these lights are so much brighter than my other lights, but I can't pick it up on the camera very well, but you just gotta take my word for it. They are a lot brighter. So that's the install and a little bit of overview on the KC Gravity 7-inch universals. Like I mentioned before, they are for the Jeep TJ, but they're considered universals, so they can be retrofitted into older Jeeps like my CJ7 here. If you have any questions, drop a link or drop a comment in the comment box below. I'll try to get back to you. If you're curious as to where to get these lights, I got them off Amazon. They were $579, not the cheapest, but they are very good quality. So if you want to purchase some of these lights, I'll put a link in the description below as well. So hope you enjoy them as much as I think I'm going to enjoy them, and I think I'll end the video here. I'll have the KC Slim lights coming in following videos, and I'm really looking forward to that light output and just the overall experience of those. Hope those are as good as these KC Gravities. So anyway, like I always say, when it comes to Jeeps, keep it classic.